Now, some of you may also think, Anton, you're crazy. It's COVID time, and this is what I've heard a lot too, is like, why are you opening restaurants during COVID? How's it going, everybody? This is Anton. I'm creating a video of me and my life. I wanted to start this off over here so that everybody can see how beautiful Ventura is. This is where the first Nick the Greek restaurant in Southern California started. I moved out here about 8 months ago. Ventura's weather all year round is just amazing. I wanted to create this video, explain more to you about what I'm doing, what my goals are, what my plans are, but also where I came from and how this all kind of developed and where everything kind of started.
So good.
Thank you.
Insane.
Thanks for that.
We saw you, we were like, oh, he has a structure. Yeah, that's definitely him.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you. So Nick the Greek Ventura is right down this hill. We're gonna go over there and I'm gonna tell you guys more about my life and everything. Let's go. So to start off with, I'm Anton van Happen. I was born in Hong Kong and I am half Dutch and half Filipino. I grew up super international. My mom's side of the family is from the Philippines, but they all live out here in California. So I was always back and forth between Asia, California, and Europe because my dad's side of the family is from Holland. The reason I was born in Hong Kong and we were in Hong Kong is because my family was one of the first families in the 60s and 70s to start manufacturing clothing in Hong Kong. My grandfather first went to Hong Kong. Everyone was like, you're crazy. What are you gonna go do in Hong Kong? So we were in that industry basically all the way up until 2009. So I grew up in a super entrepreneurial family. When nobody was manufacturing in Asia, we were one of the only ones. Our business was private label. And what private label business is, means you manufacture clothing for other brands. Everybody of course knows, for example, Gap. I'm just saying that's an example, right? We manufactured clothes for a lot of big brands back in the day. But towards the end of the 90s, companies themselves started going directly to Hong Kong or China or any countries where they can manufacture clothing cheaper. That business slowly started to like disappear because basically we were the middleman. Once we saw that business kind of like dying down and going away, what we ended up doing is we started our own clothing stores. And we were actually in children's fashion. So what's comparable is Gymboree in the United States was one of the biggest kids, it's not there anymore, they're bankrupt, but it was one of the biggest kids clothing brands in America. So basically we were the Gymboree in Western Europe. Starting our own clothing retail stores, now we had everything from manufacturing to retail. That means you're vertically integrated. You control your whole supply chain. That lasted for us until 2009. What really shaped me is in 2008, 2009, when the recession hit, we didn't only get hit by the recession, like we got hit by a lot of different things that just did not go right for us. And that hugely, tremendously shaped me as an entrepreneur and as a business person. If that didn't happen, I don't know and I don't think that I would have the exact drive that I have today. Basically, with anything that's not going my way or going the right way and just keeping on pushing and pushing and breaking through those barriers and those walls, that happens once something so dramatic's happened in your life. You are able to finally then build that confidence within you. And it's not only confidence, I feel like it's character building. That's where you see a lot of successful people, they have that character within them to drive through those walls and continue to go forward no matter what. So it's a horrible period in time for the world, but at the same time, there's those that find the opportunity within that and boom, they start hitting, they start going. So that's kind of like where we're at right now with COVID is, okay, this is a horrible time, but where's the opportunity, right? That's being an entrepreneur, is always finding, okay, where's the opportunity? No matter what's going on, where's the opportunity? How can we continue to move forward? It's super hard to find parking in Ventura. So normally from my house to the restaurant here, I just take my little electric scooter. I'm sure you guys will see me on it at some point in some of these videos, but that's how I get around Ventura. It's much easier than driving around in circles and trying to find parking spots. Anyway, let's get into the restaurant. I'll continue the story, but let's go. So after 2009 was like rebuilding time. That's when also like me and my dad started really working as a team together. And it's been like that ever since. Okay, let's walk in the restaurant first. Let me put my mask on. This is the back entrance. So before Nick the Greek was here, it was a burger I'm, but I think they were only here for like a year. And before that was Subway. So look at these fridges and freezers. I think they're from like the 80s or whatever, but they still work. I mean, they work great. So we do all the prepping. So we do all our potatoes. This is Miguel. This is the kitchen manager here in Ventura. So we cut all of our potatoes fresh. You can't do this with any kind of potato. A lot of people don't know that, but you need to use specific potatoes. They're called Kennebec potatoes. As you saw, the kitchen in Ventura is super small, but you don't need a big kitchen as long as you are able to serve your customers, then you're okay. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have been to the store here in Ventura, and as you guys all know, this is where the viral video went down and happened. So what's really cool about what Ventura did for us, when outdoor dining was permitted, they allowed us to build, as you can see right here, our own patios onto the street. Right when I first started this, I actually rented a patio. Me and Tiki Girl right here, we decided let's share a terrace together so that we have a bigger footprint. So in the beginning we were renting because we didn't know like how long this whole thing was gonna last, a month, 2 months. But once we got a month further, and I was like, listen, the amount we're paying in rent, we might as well build our own thing. So that's when we built our own patio. But the problem right now is, of course, outdoor dining is not open, so everyone's terrace now is empty. Why don't we take a walk and I'll continue the story about me and how I got to where I'm at right now and how we have Nick the Greek here in Ventura. So basically in 2011, 2012, I ended up starting a company where we manufactured waterless car cleaning products. The next few years of my life, you'll see I've dabbled into many different kinds of businesses just because of things that interest me, but at the end of the day, business is business, right? I started that waterless car wash product line, and it wasn't me just purchasing waterless car wash products. I actually spent 8 months to a year in developing products to clean a car with a cup of water. For example, you could Google my name, Anton van Happen, and a company called Eco Green Auto Clean. I started that company. I manufactured all the products, came up with all the formulas. They were all our own secret proprietary formulas. We're walking with these kids skateboarding. Let's stop for a second. Yeah, I developed all these products and started a brand where you can clean your car with a cup of water. It sounds crazy. It did sound crazy back then too. And a lot of people were like, wait, what? How does that even make sense? How does that even work? So what I did is I ended up starting a actual waterless car wash location in the Bay Area in Redwood City, California. And it was right on the borderline of Atherton, California. Atherton, California is one of the richest neighborhoods in the whole of the US. My whole goal of doing that was to get high-end cars from all this clientele in that area so that people would be like, oh wow, that product really works, right? You're not just using that on a cheaper car. Now I'm actually using it on expensive cars, and people are like, wow, the product works great. If people are trusting with those kind of cars with a product like that, then I'm gonna trust with my car too. So I started that physical car wash location, built that out. It did really, really well. While at the same time, that was again my marketing tool, and then I started selling products worldwide, because at the end of the day, my whole main point was to sell product, because there's a lot more margin in product than the service business of car washing, right? The service business of car washing, you have a lot of employees, which is great, you're employing a lot of people, but your margin is a lot smaller than actually manufacturing something and selling it. But I was lucky enough to be able to sell that company. I mean, that company did well. It never did anything crazy, but it did well. I spent about 6 years of my life doing and building that company. From that, I transitioned then to flipping homes. And this is my whole thing to you guys about, I kind of went through random different things. So with real estate, when I was getting into it, it wasn't like this was the first time I was gonna get into real estate. No, I had already experienced with my family doing some real estate deals. That's actually another thing that I'm really passionate about, is real estate. But not only necessarily real estate, it's just changing the aesthetics of a house. The fun part is that, so the design and seeing the difference, but the other fun part is to try and do that for as cheap as possible and make it look as expensive as possible.
Have you heard of Meet Kevin?
No.
He's local here in Ventura.
Oh really?
Just want to stuff. He does exactly what you were saying.
What, flipping homes?
Yeah.
Oh nice. Fixing a home up for as cheap as possible, but make it look as expensive as possible, because that's also how you spread your margin the biggest. Where I did this was, I didn't do it in the Bay Area because I didn't have enough money to do it in the Bay Area. In the Bay Area, you're looking at homes starting at $1 million. I didn't have that kind of money to go do that with. So I moved to Las Vegas and I started flipping homes between $300,000 and $500,000. So I'd buy a home, for example, for $300,000. I put 30 into it, and I'll try to show you guys some pictures of what I did, because a lot of people are like, wow, that only costs you $30,000. Yes, if you do your research right. Again, this isn't just like simple stuff, and I'm not exaggerating. I went to like every single tile store in Vegas. I went to every bathroom store in Vegas. I went to every contractor. I did all my research for 2 months before I actually like properly got into this and started doing it, because then I knew all the pricing was in Vegas. I knew all the contacts I needed to know in Vegas before I started doing all this. It's so important to do your homework in order to do things right. So what I was getting at is I'd buy a house for 300, put 30 into it, and sell the house for 380 or $400,000, right? So then I'd make about $60,000, $70,000 on a home like that. And then I do that over and over and over again. And I enjoyed it, I loved it, and I would still be doing it now, but what happened was that margin went away. It got to the point where a fully renovated home in Vegas that was in that price range, let's say that was fully renovated and looked great, be selling for $400,000, and the one that needed the work done was selling for $360,000. So now you have a $40,000 margin. If I'm already gonna put 30 into it, now I have only $10,000 left over, and this whole process per house, fast takes 3 months. At a slower pace takes about 5 months. So you're gonna take $10,000 spread over 3 months, or you're gonna take $10,000 spread over 5 or 6 months. That's not a proper income to continue flipping homes with. So I got to the point where in that industry, I was like, all right, well, I had my time, I did good. I still do wanna get back into it one day, though. I'll tell you that about that in another time, what my real estate goals are. But that's during all kind of when this was all happening is how I got involved and introduced to Nick the Greek. So how I got involved with Nick the Greek is during that whole process of when I was already seeing that the house flipping wasn't going to be a thing for the future at that point in time. As you know, again, I was in the Bay Area before with the Waterless Car Wash, so I had a lot of connections and friends in the Bay Area, and that's how I got introduced to the Nicks. And a lot of people don't really know the story of Nick the Greek, but it's not one Nick, it's 3 Nicks, and they're all cousins. And they're the founders, they're the ones that actually started Nick the Greek. And they started the first store in San Jose, California. It took them about a year to actually get traction at their first store. Right now, it's a concept in the Bay Area that's doing super, super well. Of course, it's been hit by COVID, but I mean, this was all pre-COVID. The stores are still doing okay, but obviously not as well as they were before. So they're the ones that started that first store in San Jose. It took them about a year to get traction. And that's another thing that like a lot of people can like understand and learn from this is like getting into business isn't about tomorrow results. A lot of people want fast results, and that's not gonna happen, especially when you start something new. So it took them a year to actually get traction, and once they had that traction, that's when they started opening their own second, third, fourth, fifth store. They built to the point where they had, or they still have 8 corporate owned stores of theirs, and they just started franchising about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. The franchising, of course, the first franchisees were in the Bay Area. It's a complete Bay Area concept, and it's also a completely new franchise concept. So while all that was happening, I wasn't even involved, right? Because this was all I just got now involved in 2020. This is all pre-2020. A lot of people are like, wow, what kind of crazy timing for you? I know, right? Especially during COVID. I was talking to them, looking at the business, understanding the business. A good friend of mine was a franchisee. I spent a lot of time with him at his store. And I took also myself about 8 months to a year before I decided, hey, Nick the Greek's the next big thing. I want to be involved and I want to move forward with this concept. And one of the main reasons is because of the Nicks. It's because of the people. Like in business and in life, for me, that's the most important thing. Everything else can come around that afterwards, but the most important #1 thing is to get along with the people that you're working with and get along with the concept that you want to be together with, because you're basically getting into a marriage with these people, right? You're not going to go marry somebody that you think, oh, maybe, or you're not going to marry somebody where you just met them for 2 or 3 days or whatever, even a month, and move forward because you don't know enough about the person. Again, the main reason I got involved is because the Nicks are so involved in this whole concept, and there's so much support and help that I was like, look, this is what I'm going to get involved with. And I studied the restaurant business. I did as much research as possible before I made the decision, all right, I'm going to move forward with this. And another reason I chose Nick the Greek as a concept that I was move forward with is because since I didn't have prior restaurant experience, let me become a franchisee. The system is already set up. I know how to run a business. And as long as you know how to run a business, if the systems are set up and you have a good support group around you and you know the numbers you should be hitting, the percentages you should be hitting, that the food quality is good, then get involved. I love cooking myself. I love the taste of food, so that's also another reason why I got involved. If you don't like food and you don't like cooking, again, don't get involved. You need to be into your business, and your business needs to be your hobby, and you need to want to be there all the time. And that's how I am. I started the first Nick the Greek store here in Ventura, and what I mean about the first Nick the Greek store is for me as a franchisee, but also in Southern California, because again, it's a Bay Area concept, all the stores are in the Bay Area. I was the first franchisee, or the first store to open in Southern California. And my plan was, from the get-go, not to just do one store. I'm a bigger picture kind of person. I'm not a person that does something to have one restaurant, and I'm not downplaying that. There's people out there that are going to be perfectly content with doing that. Go ahead, go do that. That's not my goal in life. Is to build a lot more stores in one store, and that's what I mean about bigger picture. So my goal is to build about 20 to 25 of these Nick the Greek stores within the next 5 years, and it's an extremely aggressive growth plan. I like setting my goals high and reaching them and attaining them. Otherwise, I don't feel like I'm doing enough in my life to get myself to where I want to get to. I've started the second store in Westwood, which is right next to UCLA. Opened that in beginning of October. I just signed another 2 leases for Santa Monica and Thousand Oaks. Now, some of you may also think, Anton, you're crazy. It's COVID time, and this is what I've heard a lot too, is like, why are you opening restaurants during COVID? And this brings back to the conversation where I was talking about 2008, 2009, 2010. This is what I learned from that experience. When everyone's scared, go in and attack. And what I mean by that is, right now, what do you think with real estate, commercial real estate, and restaurant spaces? There's not a lot of people going into it, right? Because everybody's scared. So what's happening right now is I'm able to make crazy good deals on leases. That's why I'm pushing hard and I'm expanding and I'm trying to sign these leases right now, because now's the time to grasp onto that opportunity. And again, this is things that you learn throughout life, right? I learned this from 2008, 2009. Now I'm implementing this when I can, because back then I couldn't. I didn't have money to implement what I was already saying about, for example, getting into real estate. That's kind of a background story of where I'm from, how I got to the point where I'm at now. Again, now I have Nick the Greek Ventura, I have Nick the Greek in Westwood, and Santa Monica and Thousand Oaks are probably going to open around April, May of next year. And I'm still looking for more real estate deals to sign leases. Again, my growth plan is to do 20 to 25 stores by 2025. That means I can't sit still. I need to take advantage, and now is the time to take advantage of those leases. There's one more thing I forgot to say between all of this, because there's a lot to go over, was back in 2016, 2017, we bought an existing spa that was right behind the Bellagio. It's called a Touch of Las Vegas Spa. It's a high-end spa, professional spa, and we do everything from massages to facials, and we created a concept that also doesn't exist anywhere else in Las Vegas, where we have private rooms. And what I mean by private rooms is anytime you ever go to a spa, everything is public except for the massage. So right, you want to go steam, you're with the people you don't know. You want to go sauna, you're with people you don't know. You want to go hot tub, you're surrounded with people you don't know. And if you're a couple, you can't go steam and sauna together because it's gender separated. So we created a concept. We have private spa suites. Each private spa suite has its own hot tub, sauna, rain shower, and steam room. So the whole idea is you can be there 100% by yourself. You could be there with your significant other. You could be there with a bachelorette party, whatever it may be. You have 100% your own privacy, and that's what people love about it. And that's a concept that we're also looking at expanding too. It's a lot that I've gone over with you guys, but a lot of you wanted to know my backstory. My future goal is, like I was saying, after I'm able to build out these 20 Nick the Greeks, all the profit that's going to come from these stores, I want to get back into real estate again. And what I mean about back into real estate is commercial real estate. I want to start buying apartment complexes, and that's where I want to invest and put all that money into. And that's another thing that I can discuss another time with you guys about how to continue to invest your money and make your money roll and make your money continue to make money. Instead of making money and then going and spending, buying a house, buying a car, this, that, and then it's gone, right? Just continue rolling your money into businesses, and that's how you continue to grow your empire.
Best froyo in town? You get some froyos in Nick the Greek?
Yeah, man, they're super good. Have you not tried one yet?
I only went here once. Let's try it out.
So good. I'm gonna get you one right now.